At the time of this recording, I was living in Spain and I was working at a high school, so I had a week off for spring break and I decided to visit Scotland. I got there in the late afternoon, so all I did really was go into the city and walk around a little bit and get dinner. But the bus that I rode into the city was a double-decker bus, so it was so fun for me. It was like in a movie, and so I went and sat at the top in the front, so I could see everything. My GPS also wasn't working for the first day I was there, so I was just like wandering around trying to find my hostel and trying to find the place I wanted to have dinner, which was the Pie Maker, by the way. I really liked the Pie Maker. I went there twice, and the food is cheap and good and warm. I had a haggis roll and a cottage pie. Would recommend. And this is my little pod at the hostel. I stayed at the Code Pod hostel, which was right on Royal Mile. It was a super good location, and I really liked how, even though I was in a hostel, I had my own little area. The next day I went to Edinburgh Castle, but I got there way too early, so I left. And I wandered around a little bit. I bought a bracelet, and then I went back for my scheduled entry time. I was so cold this day. It was rainy and it was windy, and I'd come straight from Las Palmas where it's like sunny and 75 every day, so I didn't bring a coat because I didn't own a coat, and I was just wearing a sweater. And every time I had to leave like one part of the castle to go in another to look at all the different museums, I would just like shiver violently. Waiting in line to see the crown jewels was especially horrible because then I had to stay outside. I couldn't just run into a building. I've also always been really interested in Mary Queen of Scots, so it was really cool to learn a little bit more about her and be somewhere that she had been and see the room where her son was born. I really liked that part. And then after that, I can't remember if it was Sainsbury's or Tesco that I went to, because I know I went to both. I'm just not sure when. But I bought some Cadbury eggs, which was really exciting. I also went to a bookstore, and there was a section specifically for Scottish authors, which was cool, and I got a couple books there. The next day, I didn't get up until like 11, so I had fish and chips for breakfast. Then I went to the National Museum of Scotland. I could only stay for a couple hours because after that I had a tour of the underground vaults, and which I did not record because it was so dark down there. I couldn't even see where I was stepping half the time. I really wanted a milkshake, so I went to Five Guys for dinner, which I really regretted because I don't even like hamburgers that much, and it was so expensive. The next morning I went to this really cool restaurant. I think it was called Dishoom, and I tried chai for the first time, which I've been wanting to do for a while, and it was so good. And it was bottomless, so the wait staff kept coming over and asking me like, oh, do you want more, and I was like, no, I can't. It's really good though. I think I'm so full. It's so nice out today. Originally I was gonna go to the National Museum today, but then when I saw that the weather was supposed to be really good, I decided to come here instead to Calton Hill. I'm gonna go to the museum tomorrow, I think. I actually went yesterday, but only for a couple hours, and I didn't see like nearly everything. So I'm gonna go back tomorrow. And today I'm here. Oh, this would be such a great place for a picnic. If I lived here, I would come here all the time. It's just been so long since I've been somewhere green. Like, I guess over winter break, I went to Oviedo, and it was very green there. But before that, like, ages. Because the thing is, like, I've been to New York for the summer, but usually the grass is all dead by the time I get home. Also, the sea is like right there, so I might walk there today. I kind of want to walk there. This cookie was actually kind of terrible. I didn't finish it. I didn't grow up by the sea, and I remember seeing the ocean for the first time when I was like 9, and it was the most like magical thing. And even though now I've spent a good chunk of my life living in coastal cities, I just like never really get over it. Something about being by the sea is just so freeing and relaxing, but kind of energizing at the same time, if that makes sense. I wanted to touch the water to see how cold it was, but I had this hole in my shoe, so I was trying to like scurry up there and dip my hand in and then run away before I could get my feet wet. I became totally obsessed with Millionaire Shortbread on this trip. It's so good. I want to learn how to make it because I miss it so much. The next day I went to the meadows, and it was too early for the cherry blossoms to be blooming, but it was still really pretty with all the green. And then I went to the National Museum again, and I went to see Greyfair's Bobby. After that, I met this girl from Malaysia, and she wanted to see Scottish Parliament, so we went and did that together. But on the way there, we stopped at a bunch of little free museums, and then we kind of skulked around the outside of Holyrood Palace because we didn't have like tickets or anything. If I ever go back to Edinburgh, I think I want to get tickets and actually go inside because it seems cool from what I've seen online. And then that night I just had pizza for dinner because I was suddenly very aware of all the money I'd been spending this whole time, and it was like £2 for a slice of pepperoni pizza. And the next day I got a muffin, I went to the airport, and I flew back to Spain, and that was all.